More than 26 million e-commerce businesses worldwide are now selling products online, so it's no wonder that professionals care about standing out from the crowd. This does sometimes lead to less than ideal customer experiences, though, when businesses try to, reinvent the visual wheel, as it were. Stay tuned to see how Clerk.io handles designs and get tips for using the right designs on your store. In this video, I will talk about the most common misconceptions around e-commerce designs that we hear about. You'll get tips for just how little you actually need to do to create highly converting designs with Clerk.io. And lastly, you'll see just how flexible our platform is when designing your search experience, recommendations, and emails. One of the things we often spend way too long talking to customers about is the look of the webshop. From colors and font types to corner rounding all the way down to the nitty-gritty of pixel-perfect button placements. Ironically, when it comes to designing webshops, doing the same as everyone else is often key to success. We're creatures of a habit, so once we've seen the search field in the top right corner 3 times, we expect it to be there the 4th time as well. Similarly, if we expect being able to navigate categories through a top menu, hiding them somewhere closer to the footer will lead to fewer visitors browsing, as we have to actively search for them. Sherlock Holmes might enjoy this, but most consumers don't. Imagine a world where you drive a new car 10 times a month. Sounds cool, right? Yeah, but what if for every car the gas pedal is located in a different place, the radio button switch functionality, the amount of gears change, and sometimes the driver's seat is to the right? Browsing webshops is not as dramatic. After all, you're not really putting yourself or pedestrians at risk unless you browse while driving. Please don't. But having to readjust to every new webshop we visit means we lose attention much more quickly. Ultimately, that's why it's so important for you to follow the best practices set by e-commerce market standards. Don't get me wrong, having a unique branded design is important for creating awareness. But it's often better when this comes from using your individual colors, fonts, product catalog, tone of voice, and other creative aspects rather than the structure of your website. Integrating a new tool like Clerk.io into your webshop can be daunting, as you need to make sure it matches the brand you've established. This often leads to focusing on the wrong design aspects, which means longer onboarding times, and in the meantime, you lose out on what truly matters: actually automating your revenue streams. Luckily, through more than 10 years in the e-commerce space, we found the most important aspects of designing product and content listings. Regardless of whether you want to follow this advice or create unique, never-before-seen layouts and styles, Clerk.io supports it. Stay tuned to find out how. I can't stress this enough. When it comes to web design, less is more. Both in terms of placing elements where visitors expect it, but also by not over-informing on product cards across the webshop. In our experience, the best product listings consist of the fabulous 5 elements: a high-quality image of the product, a well-described name that explains the product, the price of the product and the discount when it's on sale, a clear call-to-action button that draws attention, and reviews, assuming you have them. The overall premise is that visitors should be able to get a full understanding of what they're seeing within less than a second to convince them to click or even buy it immediately. If we break down the fabulous 5, they do this. With image and name, you know exactly what you're looking at. With price, you know what's required of you to obtain this product, and with the discount, you create a sense of urgency for saving money. With the call to action, you beckon visitors to learn more or even buy. And with reviews, you're giving valuable social proof that others like this product, which can often seal the deal. Adding too much extra info apart from this can lead to information overload, which makes it much easier to go back to Google and do something else. There's the patience again. And yes, I know there are exceptions to this rule. For example, if you sell computers, showing specs like CPU power, RAM, and storage is important for grabbing attention. Also, if you're a top-tier, high-quality furniture brand with a small catalog, you might also need to have more elaborate product cards. However, for the vast majority of webshops, you don't need more info than the fabulous 5 elements. There's a reason why Amazon has been doing this for more than 20 years and still succeed at it. So let's talk about how you can handle these highly converting designs with Clerk.io. Clerk.io is an AI that predicts what your customers want to buy next. Due to this, our main focus lies on giving you access to this artificial intelligence that truly understands your business and shows the right results every time. The visual presentation of results are handled with designs in 3 overall ways. 1. Using our template library in combination with our design editor to create highly converting designs without coding anything. 2. Using the powerful Liquid template language known from Shopify to fully customize designs with HTML and CSS. And 3. Using our API to just get back the results to build your own designs server-side or in apps. First up is the templates and design editor setup. With this, you can choose between a number of predefined templates for search, recommendations, embedded email recommendations, and full layouts for auto email. It's very straightforward, as you just need to pick a template that resonates with you and use that either as it is or expand on it. All of our templates are responsive out of the box for a great mobile experience. In the design editor, you can add, remove, or change various aspects of the design. As I mentioned earlier, less is more, so the best way to get started is just updating the color scheme, choose the font from your website, and then configure the call to action button to match your tone of voice. When a design is saved, it will instantly take effect on the Clerk.io element that uses it. Check the link in the description for a deep dive into the functionality of the design editor. Next up is using code designs. If this section sounds like Klingon to you, don't worry. Your developer or technical marketeer will find it fairly straightforward. Code designs give you much more control over the visual details. If you're used to working with templates in WooCommerce, Shopify, or another platform, you'll quickly grasp how this works. In the editor, you have access to HTML and CSS fields. In HTML, you can write a markup that uses Liquid to add specific information like name, image, URL, price, and any other attribute you sync with Clerk. Liquid allows you to add advanced logics through for loops, if statements, and data assignments for adding functionalities like dynamic price boxes, batches for new products, and anything else you can think of. In CSS, you can add any styling rules you want to, including media queries for creating responsive designs. If you want to get even more advanced, you can add formatters to your setup, which are JS functions that manipulate your attributes in some way. Maybe you want to divide all prices by 2 in certain cases, or you want to only show the first 50 letters of a product name. Formatters can be added to Clerk.js in your frontend directly or as individual functions in my Clerk.io. After adding them, they can be used in your code by adding a pipe and then the name of your function. In short, if you can do it with HTML and CSS, you can do it with Clerk.io. All your designs are inserted as pure HTML and CSS in your frontend when results are shown. Sometimes it might be easier for you to maintain your designs in your own frontend rather than hosting them in Clerk.io, especially if you use the same design across many different markets. That's why we made it possible to embed designs directly into your own code. The syntax is exactly the same, so the only difference is that your Clerk.io embed code references a design on the page itself rather than in our backend. Check the link in the description for much more info about this. Lastly, if you prefer working with design server-side, you can easily do this with Clerk.io's API. In general, there are 2 ways for you to do this. Either by simply getting back the product, category, or page IDs from Clerk and then fetching all other data from your own server, or getting back all the necessary attributes from our API so you can render the results without needing any other database calls. For B2B businesses and alike, you can also combine the 2 approaches to get most of the data from Clerk, but get specific customer prices from your own system, as an example. This is Clerk.io's design system. To summarize, when it comes to web design, less is more, and mixing your brand colors with market standard layouts and responsive design is important for the customer experience. The most important elements to show in your product and content listings consist of the fabulous 5. A high quality image, clear name, pricing, CTA, and reviews if you have them. With Clerk.io, you have the flexibility to create highly converting designs for search, recommendations, and emails. You can do this with our templates and design editor, HTML and CSS, or with the API directly. Ultimately, if you want to grow your business by working smarter, not harder, you need Clerk.io in your tech stack. It's the best way to attract, convert, and retain your customers. So, what are you waiting for?